Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today it is January the 30th, and we're here on Nexus Nights to talk about balance patches and Blizzard's approach to them. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Hey. So, we're gonna be talking about a lot tonight. There's honestly quite a bit that we have to talk about. Over the past few weeks, there's been so many changes. With like we had that original balance patch, and then we had like the PTR, and then the latest balance patch. There's just been a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just get straight into it. Is that okay with everyone?
Have at it.
All right. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about the PTR. I'm just gonna go ahead. Actually, you know what? We're gonna wait on Li-Ming. I know you have a lot to say, but we're gonna wait.
By you mean Valiver.
Yes, yeah. I mean you, Valiver. All right. We're gonna wait on that and just talk about the reveal of Li-Ming and Zul. And so Blizzard did that whole campaign. What do you guys think about the Heroes Reveal campaign?
I think it was neat. I really like Blizzard kind of offering this chance for the internet to go crazy over what they think might happen next.
Such a tease, man.
That's right.
Well, it was like even worse because they did it like on the same day that they were supposed to do like a balance patch.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we're gonna do a balance patch later today. But by the way, check this out.
That's right.
It was like super teasy.
Yeah,
that we're gonna do right away.
Yeah, Great Elile's voice for the wizard, like, so iconic to me.
Yeah.
But
what were you gonna say?
I wonder if they were watching what everybody's predictions were to try to gauge what everybody wants it to be. It's like, oh, everybody was saying Kel'Thuzad. Like, obviously they're making that one, but like, okay, everybody wants Kel'Thuzad, and they can get a lot of info like that too about what people are wanting.
Yeah. You need to make Kel'Thuzad. I'll be excited when Kel'Thuzad comes out.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sure what he would do now, because like now we have the Necromancer that makes skeletons and stuff. Like, what is Kel'Thuzad supposed to do?
There's always room for a lich.
Okay.
Yeah, I was to say,
Okay,
yeah,
Lich.
that just supposed to.
But
puts it more
isn't
as
Lich
the
just like a different type of Jaina?
Well, I mean, that's kind of like when KT comes out saying that, like, we already have a mage who does a lot of area damage. What do we need KT for?
Okay, fair enough.
He does fire damage. It's very different.
Fair enough. Okay.
And we do already have a melee Jaina in Arthas, so
True.
if you really want to get down to that.
That's right.
But yeah, I'm still looking forward personally to Grom Hellscreen. Like that just has to happen.
Oh
Has to
yeah.
happen. And Phoenix, dude.
Yeah,
I can't
Phoenix.
live without Phoenix, man. Can't do it. I can't continue to play this game if they're never gonna make Phoenix.
Yeah, I need a zealot who doesn't suck quite as much as Artanis does.
Shots fired.
They said they're going to fix Artanis eventually, I think.
Well, what the hell are they waiting for? I mean, there's no secret what his problems are, and they
Yeah.
just won't fix it.
No, they're well aware of the problems. They're going to nerf him.
It's really stupid. It bothers
That's
me.
it's okay. They took care of Lunar and Greymane, so
That's right.
Well, we're gonna have a bitch session about Blizzard later, right?
yes.
Okay, so all right. So I'll save my complaints for then.
But yeah, I think the whole hero reveal campaign was really clever, and I got everyone guessing. What was the other one that people thought besides the Necromancer?
I think the Necromancer shared a voice actor with some other character from Warcraft.
I thought it was
Was it
Kel'Thuzad.
just Kel'Thuzad?
Yeah, we threw on Kel'Thuzad. I thought it was what's his name? The Defias guy. I mean, I figured it was a human. I didn't think it was Kel'Thuzad at first until someone threw out to be the human form of Kel'Thuzad.
There was
Yeah.
someone like Kylaris who was maybe it was Kendrick Swish who was pretty sure it was a troll.
Oh yeah, that's right. There was a lot of troll
It
speculation.
was Zul'jin or something like that. So
Yeah, he didn't sound Jamaican enough though.
Yeah, some people
Yeah.
thought Medivh as well.
oh yeah, Medivh. I could have totally seen Medivh. I could have seen
Yeah,
that.
maybe.
I'm not sure what Medivh would do though. All right, sidetracked.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go over. Let's go over the PTR balance changes, and then I promise we'll go into Li-Ming. I promise. So some of the balance changes in the PTR. By the way, we're working chronologically backwards to this, so we're actually going to do the PTR and then older patch, and then talk about that. So first of all, they did some like huge hero reworks on Nova and Rhaegar.
Yep.
Have you guys had a chance to play those? Thoughts, ideas?
Nova's garbage now. Trash tier.
Nova has a
Pop
very
the champagne. She's gone
Nova
again.
has a very different playstyle than what she used to have, which happens to be a terrible playstyle.
Yeah.
She technically does more damage if you go for the Snipe Master build and never miss a snipe ever. She technically does do more damage.
So in the games we played, she did do a lot of hero damage. Like, it was comparable to Li-Ming, which is impressive, but she didn't feel very impactful at all.
Yeah, she's no longer a burst assassin.
No.
The best build that I found was you just go for a pinning shot build with one in the chamber, and just kind of follow through it. But it's like it doesn't take any skill. Like, literally, it's a click shot, and then you attack, and then you do it the click shot again and attack, and they're chunked for half their health. Like,
I'm getting a little tired of
boring.
these follow-through designs as well. It feels like every time I see a follow-through like talent, I just think, oh, well, there must be a build where you get a bunch of activatable abilities and you just try to weave them in and out, and it makes the characters feel very similar to each other, I think.
Well, unless you count Illidan.
Well, how many heroes actually do that, though? I mean,
Well, Zeratul doesn't.
Well, actually, that's another story. I don't think Zeratul does anymore.
Yeah.
We'll
But
talk about that.
I mean,
Sonya, Thrall, Sylvanas.
Yeah.
yeah, all right.
Yeah,
So about half a dozen, maybe. It's not terrible.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's not
think it's bad. I
But for a
personally
new
like the
rework,
design.
I'd rather not see it. So.
I think it's a good thing to have but like follow through type talents, because it really does separate some of the better players from some of the worst players. Because if you have like a noob that doesn't really know how to play, they'll just blow all their spells at once and just kind of do a bunch of damage. But like a good player will be able to eke out that extra, percent damage.
That's true. I think I just want some more variation between how follow through works, right? Because right now most of the variation, right now all the variation is how much damage you get on your auto attack whenever you use an ability. But like, what if it was instead when you use an auto attack, you get a bonus on your next ability, or I don't know. There's a lot of different variations they could do.
Okay.
I think
All right.
instead of just base follow through builds.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're likely to see stuff like that in the future.
Yeah.
As we've seen with the last couple of heroes, they are not doing like any generic talents anymore.
Yeah,
They're
far
just not
fewer.
making them at all.
Yeah. And I like that change a lot.
So.
Yeah, they're getting very creative with them. Like Lunara, especially, had some really creative ways to talent her. Like, unfortunately, she was just really undertuned at first, but her talents are interesting. A lot more interesting than, say, an old character like Arthas. His talents are all like just streamlined, really bland and boring.
Or like Tyrael, where you pretty much always take the talents that are just generic talents. A lot of the time. No
Yeah,
agreement there.
True. But the rework on Rhaegar is amazing, though. If you guys have played Rhaegar, like
He's tough.
straight up OP right now.
No, I'm playing with him on the PTR, just looking at his stats. I mean, he's cranking out a ton of healing still, but his damage is just a lot. I mean, he seems
so
like
scary.
he hurts. Yeah, he is scary. I was really surprised by that.
I kind of like that direction because I've always felt like he's a higher damage type of support, and
Yeah,
with
he should be.
Bloodlust, it makes sense to kind of gear him more towards doing more damage.
I really want to see more Bloodlust comps again. And yeah, actually, now that I think about it, one of the things that's worth talking about is this new direction that Blizzard's taking with heroics in general, in terms of taking out a subset of some of the heroics that are available and then making them more powerful, but increasing their cooldown so that you can't spam them as much. I like that direction.
Interesting. And yet they keep coming out with new heroes with very short cooldown ults.
Well, they're kind of doing both. Like it's a certain set of heroes they're going to have the more spammy heroics, but then they're going to have these other heroes that have like the big wombo type of heroics available, and I like having that diversity.
Okay. Interesting. I worry that if you increase the cooldowns too much, you end up with just like a subset of heroes that are just straight up like better because you can engage like every 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
Versus ones it's like, oh, you know what? Like old Malfurion, for instance, which is like, oh, okay, Tranquility's not up. It's like 100-second cooldown. We can't fight for 100 seconds.
Yep.
So I don't know. We'll see how things work. If they can manage to balance around it, but that is a possibility, I think.
Yep.
What do you think, Valiver?
I don't really like the long cooldowns in general. Like, I'm not sure that, like, the short cooldowns like Lunara and Li-Ming, like that works for them. That's pretty interesting, and it's really fun to play, to spam your ult, you know. I mean, what's not to love about that? Yeah. But as far as the long cooldowns, like, for instance, Blunt Force Gun from Sergeant Hammer and Hinterland's Blast from, like, that's just too long of a cooldown for those. Like, if you're getting those, you need those talents or those heroics to do damage to kill somebody. Yeah. And so you're saying you can't actually fight somebody for a full like 2 minutes or something? It's a little bit too much, I think. They did need to, the damage of both of those did need to be upped, though. I'm glad they did that.
Yeah, it's Blunt Force Gun is so scary now. Like, it shoots and you're just like, whoa!
Oh, can't wait to see more of those. What's the Storm talent tier on that stupid ultimate where they use it to take out 2 keeps at a time?
Orbital, yeah, that's
Orbital. Yep.
So stupid.
Honestly, I'm happy about that getting buffed, mostly because I really don't like Napalm. Like, it's a very powerful ability, but I really don't like ultimates that are basically just like a 4th ability the character can use.
Right.
Because it's on a 10-second cooldown, 15 seconds, something like that.
It's short.
It might be like 8.
Yeah, I think it's less than 10.
Yeah. I don't play Sergeant Hammer like ever, so that's why I don't know that.
So, what do you think about the Zeratul changes in the PTR?
Yeah, I think it was Mother Fox that asked me what I thought should happen to Shadow Assault to make it better or more viable. And I said, well, basically they need to cut its cooldown in half. Well, sure enough, that's basically what they've done, and then some. So it's gone from 6-second duration to a 4-second duration, but they've lowered the cooldown from, it was like 100 seconds down to 45.
Yeah, something like that.
And the long and short of it is that it's made auto attack Zeratul actually viable. I mean, you can actually work with it because you're not entirely, well, you don't have like 60+ seconds of downtime in between using Shadow Assault, because the reality is that once you hit a certain point in the game with Zeratul, you're not killing anything without Shadow Assault. You just don't do enough burst damage. So now that it's down to 45 seconds, he actually can have an impact again. You can go full auto build, and you can be a presence, and it's probably a safer and better thing to do than grabbing Void Prison at this point. Oh. Interestingly enough.
I think it paradoxically it makes it less all in.
Yeah.
Right? Because before it was like okay, like I have to make sure that when I use this heroic, like I have to kill somebody, or else like we just will lose for the next 60 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
And that was one strategy, though, was making it all in and getting an Uther and Divine Shielding them while you Shadow Assault. And it's like, that's as all in as you can get, but it worked. So
you can still do it.
A lot of the time.
But I think there's a lot more room for clever plays and stuff. Like, he has the teleport when he attacks, and something that we never get to see enough is people, you like right click on somebody, then to escape you like right click on a minion or something at someone else and like escape that way. We never saw that because before it was just all in. You're like, I just have to click on this person until they die. That's the purpose of this ult.
And the range was really short too.
The range increase is the thing that I think a lot of people are overlooking. I mean, the range on Shadow Assault was so damn short before. There were so many times where people would just hop out and they'd be able to get away, and you couldn't get back to them because
you like jump on a Vulcan and she like vaults, and you're like, no.
Yeah, it was stupid. So I'm glad they fixed that. I think the other big change, the other really significant one, is the change to Master Warp Blade, to where now it procs on all targets and not just heroes at this point. That's
Oh,
a
they did?
huge, yeah, that's
That's
a
huge
huge
buff to
change.
his damage. Huge.
Oh my
change.
god.
Is that a bug, or do you think it was just a shadow?
Oh no, that's
Update?
something that they changed.
Oh,
That's
That's
not
incredible.
in the notes.
It's
So
not in
that's
the notes.
interesting.
yeah.
Really?
It's
I don't
not
see
in
it.
the notes.
I could have
Looking
sworn
at
I
him
saw
now.
it. Maybe it is a bug, but that was. Yeah, I don't see
That's
it in
really
the notes.
that's really cool if that's true. I like
Is it in the in the balance change notes from the recent patch?
It's not in
no.
either.
Yeah.
None of them.
Huh? Yeah, because it works on towers, minions, mercs now, works on everything, and that returns Zeratul to being kind of that jungle beast that he used to be.
Yeah,
that's
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 huge.
such a big change. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yep. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with where he is now. I think that they should revert the change to Void Prison with regards to the range. I mean, right now it's just so damn short. It's so clunky to use. But other than that, I tend to think that he's going to see a bit of a comeback now with the recent buffs.
Right.
I mean, I enjoy playing him now again.
Well, he'll see a comeback because Nova is no longer cool, right?
It's
She
true.
never was cool.
He was amazing. Show your face hole.
But like, if you need a cloaked character to snipe out enemy mages in Hero,
You go Sergeant
Yes.
Hammer.
Hammer.
Blunt Force gun is how you get to the back line. People,
You get ambushed.
we had a
Alright.
game where Valiver was using ambush and then moving through an enemy team and
Yeah.
getting to their back line.
to sneak up on the
Ninja
core.
Hammer.
It works surprisingly well.
Oh god. What do you guys think about the structure change? So now towers and forts deal 50% bonus damage.
I noticed that. Believe me, playing as
heroes.
aggressively as I do diving on people, I've made some mistakes, to say the least, on PTR.
Yeah, definitely. They hurt so much now. Now it's
Yeah.
like when you get in range of a tower, it's like, oh fuck, like I get away from this. It's like actually playing
Yeah.
a real MOBA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like in the game right now, like before the PTR at least, if you're chasing down a gank in the early game, you can easily jump in there to body block with ETC or like Muradin, but now that's a really big risk that you're taking with the
huge
damage. I think I actually got killed once doing it just by
Yeah.
accident because it's a second nature to do those kind of dives.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad they did that, because it's gonna put the damper on a little bit of that Diablo business where he just charges at the gate and pulls someone
Yeah,
someone
okay.
out. It's just stupid. So, he's not gonna be able to do that quite as much.
Yeah, it seems like in general, ganks are gonna have to be a lot more calculated. It's gonna be a lot less of that, kind of
Yeah.
Diablos around to roam around, and wherever they appear, that person dies, right?
Yep.
Now it's more like if you're actually near your towers, like you can survive, and even if you don't, like you'll probably do a shit ton of damage.
Yeah.
So it's
One
not that bad.
One thing I noticed, not in the PTR, but just in the notes in general, the damage from all these structures is increased by 50%, but the damage reduction on Dragon Knights is only increased by 10%. So it might be more important for Dragon Knights to actually wait to have things to tank shots than it was before. I don't know if that's true or not.
Well, is it the buff to the towers only against heroes?
But Dragon Knights are heroes, right? Like you can seven-sided strike a Dragon Knight.
Do they count? Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess they
We'd have
would.
to-
Oh, sure.
We'd have to test that, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a consideration.
I don't think it would. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd have to go look at that, because I think that in some cases, those entities don't count as heroic targets. But yeah, I'd have to go look.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, the other structure change though, the structures can no longer be made vulnerable.
I
That
like
takes a lot of Sylvanas' late game pushing
Rip
power out.
Sylvanas.
yeah.
Yeah, Sake released that tier list where he's like, yeah, she's totally useless now. Specialize in daily quest.
Yeah.
That's- But yeah, I think those changes are overall good, and I feel like ultimately we're gonna end up just turning into League of Legends by the time we're done with all the structure changes. There's just gonna be one tower, and it does a shit ton of damage, and it's hard to take down. But I mean,
and yeah, they made Hammer of Justice not castable on structures too. So pretty soon we're gonna no abilities cast on structures.
Dreadnought said that was a buff to Uther because of misclicks.
I can see that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
If you're trying to, you know, Hammer of Justice somebody as they're walking through their gate.
Yeah.
Which hopefully the 50% bonus damage will solve to some degree. All right, let's talk about Li-Ming. I'll let you go.
Keep your pants on this time.
All right, so
why don't you
first
just
of all,
walk us through her talents real quick, her abilities rather.
Okay, so first one, Q magic missiles. It summons 3 missiles, but they don't just instantly fire. Like one appears above each of her shoulders and like one above her head, and then they kind of go forward. So it's really awkward to use at first. They're a lot slower than you think, and that's the hardest thing to do right, is to hit magic missiles. And the other thing is, since they're coming from different directions, wherever you click in your range, they will go to that point. So if you're far away, they'll all go straight. But if they're close up, they'll actually just go in opposite directions. So there's a lot of skill involved in using that ability. So the other ability, Arcane Orb, it fires an orb that grows as it goes along its path and deals more damage the farther along it goes. But it explodes on the first thing it hits, no matter where it hits. Like even if it's on the very corner of its explosion, it'll just instantly blow up. So it's really tough to use if there's minion waves or something. It actually makes her a little bit bad early game fighting somebody because it's so easy to avoid against
it's so
a minion.
OP, man. I don't even know what you're talking about. You get hit with that thing and it's just like, ow, I'm dead.
Yeah, I mean, it does a lot of damage.
Yeah, but you shouldn't get hit in the early game, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
fair
you
enough.
can use the minions to block it because as soon as it gets anywhere near a minion, it will blow up.
Yeah.
So
Well,
all you have
she
to do
can
is
use
stand
it with
behind
Siege,
them.
though, which is really annoying.
I was gonna say both these abilities are incredibly long range. They can actually outrange Sergeant Hammer, I think.
Magic missiles can't.
Okay.
But Arcane Orb can, I bet.
Yeah, if you spec it, it can.
Definitely.
So the other ability is the E is teleport. It's about the range of Vala's Vault, so it's really short range, but it's a 5
shorter
second
than that.
cooldown.
I
Yeah,
think
it
you're just
is
used to that
short.
talent.
Yeah.
I think you're just used to that talent now. Like,
Yeah.
short, I think the unspec one is really, really short.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
it's tiny, but it's enough to get the job done though.
Right.
Like, because I mean, if you're blinking around. Anyway, short cooldown, short distance teleport. The heroics are where it gets interesting. So you've got the first one's disintegrate, which just you stand still, you channel a powerful beam. I think it's like 2.5 or 3 seconds. I'm not sure which.
2.5.
2.5, but it does massive amounts of damage and it ticks really fast. It's probably like 20 ticks a second or something of damage. So it pierces though too. It hits everybody. So if you line up a team or like group them all up with like, I don't know, Gravo Bomb or coming out of a mall or something, you can do a lot of damage with that. The other one is Wave of Force. You just click a point, and then it's a pretty decent size AoE, and it knocks everybody away. It's like an opposite Gravo Bomb, but it happens almost instantly. Does damage, knocks away. But both of those cooldowns, or on both of her heroics, are 20 seconds. So you can pretty much use them at will.
Yeah.
And what really makes her is critical mass, her trait, getting a takedown, a kill or an assist will refresh the cooldown on every ability.
I think that's OP right now.
So
That's a lot of damage.
I've seen her just like annihilate entire teams. Like she just blows her entire combo, plus like disintegrate on someone, and then just moves on to the next person, moves on to the next person, and it's just like, oh, there's nothing you can do about it.
And on top of that, one one of her level 7 talents puts a pretty decent chunk of damage on her teleport.
Yeah.
And one thing I
7.
did not anticipate is you get into these situations where you're chasing a team, and if you can teleport to kill someone, then you can teleport to kill another person, and it almost feels like Greymane.
Like a better version of Greymane.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
That's
Go
not
for the
hard.
Throat if Go for the Throat only had like a 3-second cooldown. Like,
Right.
it's not quite that powerful, but it feels like it sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's really strong. I've been impressed by what I've seen with her. And the other thing too is that with Illusionist at 13, that talent that gives her an extra teleport when she takes a lot of damage, she's deceptively hard to kill. Like, she juked my Zeratul Shadow Assault a couple times in games. Like, good players can do that. I mean, she's going to be able to make some really, really crazy plays in these games, and it's going to be fun to watch. Just kind of see what people do. I'm looking forward to when someone uses Magic Missile to hit 2 people at once.
Yeah.
Like splits it, crosses it. I mean, that's going to happen, and that's going to be a highlight.
Yeah. I really appreciate with both Greymane and Li-Ming the level of complexity of these character designs and how much room there is for just raw player skill to execute them correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, the one thing though that I feel like Li-Ming is actually pretty weak on is if you just get on top of her, then it's a lot harder for her to do stuff to you. Like once the arcane orb, like she can't do maximum damage with that, and she can't really like blink away from you. If she tries to blink away from you, then she wastes some of her damage. And like so, I think melee assassins are really really powerful against her.
And Chen.
Yeah, Chen.
Chen is a pain.
Chen can just sit on her face.
There is nothing a Li-Ming can do against a Chen, except maybe like she can interrupt the split that he has, but that's it. That's the only thing she can do.
I'm excited for Chen. This is a segue. I have been asking for the fix to his Q for so long, and I didn't get a chance to play him on PTR yet, but I'm definitely going to be...
did they claim they actually fixed it?
Yeah, that was in the notes. So
In the notes?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, is it at the bottom?
Yeah, it's in the bug fixes.
Okay.
Fixed an issue that prevented Chen from traveling through intended target using flying kick.
There it is. That's so exciting. So now he actually jumps over them.
He actually can like body block people and do what a tank is supposed to do.
All right.
God, he's so annoying.
Consistently.
That should be wonderful
not
for
cool.
Valiver.
No, it's not cool.
It's the worst change ever. I hate Chen.
I think it's funny that just Chen hard counters you. Like every hero that you
Every
play.
character I play, yeah. Like Zagara and Jaina and like just now Li-Ming, like just everybody. You're done if Chen's against me. And it's like, stop.
Yeah.
You could just try playing, like safer, like out of range of the Chen.
That's crazy talk.
No, Chen just dives anyway. That's the problem, is that he's impossible to kill.
True.
Yeah, for it.
And besides, Li-Ming's coming out. I'm gonna be even farther in front now.
Yeah,
like,
that's right. Offensive use of teleport. Just watch.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Basically.
Because I mean, teleport talents are the best way to build. Like,
Yeah, that is.
Definitely.
the arcane orb ones in general are not that great. The magic missile ones are pretty good, but not optimal, I don't think.
I think you can still do like an orb build, and treat it like a siege type of build. If you and just kind of run it in a composition that you would run like, I don't know, Nazebo or something in, but that's out of the meta currently, so it's understandable.
Yeah.
If you're going like a super poke comp, maybe, but I don't know. I don't think competent players or competent teams will let you get away with that.
Yeah, the other reason
hard to gauge.
It's gonna be useful in some comps, like that's for sure. But I don't think it will be optimal because it kind of goes against her trait. Like, you want to be in a position where you can use her abilities, and if you're way far away and have to cast another arcane orb and stuff, like teleport's not gonna be a gap closer. If the other team's running and you're at range for casting arcane orb, you're not gonna catch them.
Well, it's not to say that like you just use it to poke, right? You just use it to poke and get everybody low, and then just Greymane it, right? You just go in once they're all below half health.
That's right.
Yeah. On the PTR earlier, me and Daunt were doing. I was Li-Ming, he was Zeratul, and That was nasty.
That was really nasty stuff. Yeah,
People
I would go in with
go
Shadow
missing.
Assault. They'd all collapse on me, and then Valiver would just destroy face. It was awesome.
I mean, you just need somebody to be able to set you up
Yeah.
with a kill.
Yep.
Then Zeratul is perfect for that. And then Wave of Force was awesome with the teleport build for jumping in and just controlling everything. I can tell you where to go with Wave of Force, so I can keep you in the fight. And then I also got S of Johann for Arcane Orb, makes it knock people up or pull them towards the center.
Yeah.
And when
That's
you
so
cast that
obnoxious.
when you cast that and 4 Wave of Forces in a fight, nobody can do anything. You
No.
just die.
No.
Whichever ultimates do you like better, Valiver?
I'm really not sure. Disintegrate seems so much better, but Wave of Force gives that level of control for if you know how to use it, you can split people up. I personally think it's like an on-demand ETC combo, is what I picture it as. If an ETC just charges in, stuns people, and then just does a face melt and knocks them all back, that's effectively what happens when you Wave of Force, except it does more damage.
Yeah, you can really
Okay.
mess up melee comps with Wave of Force. Really badly.
Yeah.
What I
The
think
other
is-
part of that is if you're casting Disintegrate, you can't use all your other stuff when your cooldowns reset.
Yep.
If you with Wave of Force, you can just steamroll ahead.
If you're using Disintegrate and you kill someone, does Disintegrate get reset? Do you know?
Yeah, it gets reset, but it doesn't continue channeling. You have to recast it to
Yeah.
use it
Okay.
again. But
Have you tried the
It does
level
reset.
20 disintegrate? The 60% slow?
Oh,
I don't think it's that
60% is a
great.
lot, dude. That's a lot. That's
The only
basically not
problem is-
moving.
The only problem is just Tower Rashes, though. That gives you a flat 20% damage on Disintegrate. You don't need to slow them if they're dead.
That's right.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
I mean, it is really obnoxious though. It's a pretty nasty slow. I will say that. But
I like
I'm
that you
not-
can take Wave of Force and then go Archon mode. So you
Mhm.
essentially have access to both heroics if you want it.
you do, but I feel like Archon mode feels really weak. I really don't like the way it almost feels like you're doing a self-stun or a self-disable on your character.
well,
Um,
I saw it being used in a really interesting way, and I think I told John or Don or somebody.
Yeah.
Basically, you pop if you're against a Nova or a Zeratul, pop Archon. And it ticks five to 20 times per second. So you just spin
Right.
around in circles real quick, and it will reveal any stealthies around you.
Yeah.
And you can do it whenever you want. There's no cooldown. It doesn't
Yeah.
cost mana, so you just have instant. It's like you have a Oracle Tassadar, just nonstop whenever you want it. Because
Now-
just spin around, it'll reveal everybody around you. It's amazing.
the downside is you're basically broadcasting the bat signal for where Squishy is.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder where Li-Ming is. Should go look
Right.
for where the light show is coming from.
Yeah, Archon does massive damage to structures too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you can
You
just
can
sit
use
there
that
and...
as a siege tank.
Yeah, I think Li-Ming very clearly is going to be a top tier mage. I mean, she's going to be right up there with Jaina and Kale in terms of overall power, and we're going
Yep.
to see a lot of her in the pro scene.
Speaking of Jaina and Kale, I really like how she feels very different from those two mages.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
did a
was-
good job with that.
I was kind of expecting just another area damage specialist, and this character feels very unique and special. So I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to move on a little bit. I know you could talk about Li-Ming for days, but some of the other minor changes that we had in the PTR are also they added this floating text for the damage, and they updated a lot of the graphics on the characters, and came up with all new icons for all the abilities in the game. So what do you guys think about those quality of life changes?
It's a nice UI change.
I like the idea. I thought it was going to be more pervasive than it was. I was surprised to find that some characters still have icons on particular tier levels that are the same color and same icon. I forget which ones I'm thinking of specifically, but I know some characters still have icons that are not differentiated by color.
Oh, okay.
So
That is weird.
But it's a good step in the right direction, and I really like Diablo's new art. You know,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
instance.
All of the new icons look beautiful.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't seen the pictures for them, like I think there was a Reddit post where some guy accumulated a gallery of all of them, and they're so gorgeous. They're high detail, and they're very unique. They look great.
I feel a little bit sad though, because like some of the older ones are just like really nostalgic. You know, like you see some of those older icons, and you're like, oh man, I remember playing Warcraft 3, and that
Yeah,
was
that's
like
the problem. It's a
lifesteal.
little too nostalgic in some cases.
Yeah, you're like, that's the Mask of Death, and it's like, no, that's the Hunt, and you're like, that's like lifesteal versus like a semi-global ability that makes you teleport to someone. Like, totally different things, but I
And
don't
then
know.
you have Burrow Charge on Anu Barak, which is just Zealot Charge from StarCraft. It makes no sense.
Oh, is it? Is it Zealot
Yeah.
Charge?
Yeah, it is. Stupid.
That's beautiful.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why?
And they didn't give that to Artanis.
No,
No, of course
it's
not.
weird.
Anyways, all right. So, what do you guys think about using the? Sorry, were you gonna say something, Mother Fox? You
Nope.
made the face. All right.
I was going to ask what people think about the Towers of Doom change, because I think that's a really big deal.
What was the Towers of Doom change again?
So
the
bottom,
Mercs.
the bottom mercs, they only go
Oh.
to the bottom lane now.
That's
Yeah,
so much
thank
better.
Goodness. Yeah, it was
That's-
stupid before.
Yeah, before it felt like so random and convoluted. Now it's just a lot more stable, I think.
Well. The nice thing
consistent.
about it is it actually adds some strategic significance to the bottom lane.
Mhm.
You know, and if it makes it more of a priority, because if that's down, if those mercs go, well, that's health off the core right there.
Right.
I like the potential for huge plays it gives too. Like that's a 6-point scoring opportunity if you wipe the team late in the game.
Yeah.
So,
I like that it balances out like the top of the map as well, because like top of the map has two altars that can be contested, and it has boss. Like for instance, like if you know your opponent's doing boss, you can, for instance, like take those mercs and try to score 3 points to their 4, and try to mitigate some of the damage that you would take. So, yeah, it's good. I think it's a nice quality of life changes. That map is slowly becoming all right. All right.
I was
Guess
waiting to see what you said there.
Yeah.
Becoming
I
like
like that.
kind of sometimes fun a little.
I like it, but man, people play that map badly. I mean, just
Yeah.
kind of wandering around in just stupid areas of the map and getting picked off all the time. It drives me
Mhm.
insane.
I was gonna say the only thing I don't like about that map is how you have to play differently on it, and a
You
lot
do.
of people just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had a game the other day where there was a Murky pushing top lane the entire game, and like in normal games I might be able to work with that, but in that map, like he killed the fort once, and then the enemy team just retook the fort, and you know that's a fifth of our team. That's all he's doing. It's no good.
Right. So,
Yeah.
what do you guys think about this use of the PTR? Do you think that Blizzard is using this like to test things out correctly? Should we be using it more often? Thoughts?
Well, they haven't had that many wholesale changes to the game where the PTR has really been warranted. I mean, I'm just kind of thinking about over the past year, and they brought up the PTR a few times, and I think, I mean, really the only really big one was the scaling changes.
Mhm.
I mean, other than that, I
But
don't
shouldn't
know.
they be using it more often? Like, I feel like even if you're going to test small changes, just put it in the PTR for like 2 weeks ahead of time. Let everybody play around with it and give some feedback externally, so you're not just getting like the dev team.
Well, maybe, but Blizzard doesn't really listen to us anyway, so.
I feel like it's primarily to find bugs and not really to find balance changes.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, I don't
So what
even know
you're
how
saying
you
is
find
Rhaegar
balance
and Nova
changes.
reworks are going through for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, how many changes have gone to the PTR and been reverted? Like
None.
very few,
That's
if
true.
any.
None.
Yeah. Fair. Okay.
I mean, they've had heroes that have been broken for a long time now that people have bitched about, and they won't fix them. But, and so, I mean, with the PTR, I just don't see them listening to what we have to say about the heroes there or what we're seeing there, other
That's
than bugs,
interesting.
as Mother Fox points out.
I feel like that's a missed opportunity though. Like you could.
Well, it is. It's a hugely missed opportunity, but they just don't care.
Right. Well, we'll talk more about that. Moving on, let's move back to the January the 20th balance patch, and that was like the first balance patch we've had in like 2 months.
Thank goodness.
And it was just a really minor balance patch, which was kind of surprising because I think we were all expecting something really huge, but it was a minor balance patch, and I think it actually changed quite a bit.
Well, they brought cleanse back. That's nice. That needed to happen just so that we get more melee heroes into the mix.
Dang, this
I'm
is
glad they
really
buffed Greymane because he needed help, a lot of help.
And
Right.
Lunara.
Yeah, Lunara needed help too.
I'm sorry, are we talking about the January 20th balance patch or
January
the
20th
Yeah.
not the 27th?
last week.
Okay.
Oh, we're going back to the 20th.
Yeah, the ones
yeah.
that had minor tweaks to Tyrande. Stitches, his attack got buffed just a little bit. Malfurion got changed more towards his Q.
Yeah.
Brightwing got a lot more damage on Arcane Flare.
Yep.
And Raynor got destroyed. Oh, and also Lunara.
I thought Raynor was hurt a lot worse than he actually was. Like,
Well, he's got the focused attack nerf coming too, so he's
Yeah,
done.
that's the big
yeah.
one.
Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, he just lost health regen, his stun,
Well-
which with the double stun was a whole second, and he's losing damage on focused attack. That's a lot.
Well, the ironic thing is, though, I think he actually still has a place because he's still one of the best ranged assassins with Executioner. And now that people are running Stitches a lot more often, when you pair Executioner with Putrid Bile and like the Slam talent, it slows them. Like it does a lot.
Well, he's still the guy that you're going to want to pick to burn down those high health heroes. I mean, he's the guy you want to pick against Cho'Gall, against Diablo, just to help burn them down faster.
Yeah. He's
that's
definitely
his
the best
niche.
at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's still good at that. Like he's still better than Auto Attack Vala, for instance.
Yeah,
He still
definitely.
has enough health and enough utility that he's still actually technically better in that area.
and he actually outranges Auto Attack Vala, so he just destroys her one.
Well, if you go Quicksilver Bullets on Greymane,
That's a big if.
So,
Yeah, big if.
four hands.
then your Q no longer does anything. But that's another story. What do you guys think about the changes to Malfurion?
They're very
They're
interesting.
noticeable.
I don't know if they were necessary, to be honest.
I have players in Hero League like asking me to go Twilight Dream now when I do Malfurion, which is a bit like, and it actually works. Like my healing numbers are where they need to be in the game, and that silence is really game changing if the other team jumps on you. So, I like it.
True. You just have to make
Even
sure you
though-
do it before you get stunned and blown up.
Yeah, even though according to Hot Slugs, like no one's using Twilight Dream, but it feels good now.
He feels like medic early game now because like if ever you're in a lane against a medic, like you're never gonna kill anybody. And now it's the
Yeah.
same with Malfurion because like unless you kill them right away in a big gank, you're never gonna whittle them down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to 4-man dogpile someone if they're standing next to a Malfurion now.
Yep. Yeah, I think they may have overtuned him. We'll find out here.
Maybe a
but
bit.
yeah, I think people are going to find out he's really strong now. I hate playing him. I'm not going to play him, but
I love him.
just looking at him, he's strong.
Do you
I
play
love
support?
him. He's
Tom?
great.
Yeah, I play Monk. I like
Oh,
Monk a
okay.
lot.
He
I
plays
like,
Uther.
Do you take the healing skills? That's
yeah, no. Yeah, so, all right. I'm a man, so I take Seven-Sided Strike instead of Divine Palm. But, yes, I do play Healing Monk.
You're missing out on so many healing numbers. Dude, you could get some like way higher healing numbers if you go Divine Palm.
Yeah, but I already out-heal everybody when I play Monk for the most part. I don't need that. And besides, I can carry the bad teams when with Seven-Sided Strike in a way I can't with Divine Palm. So
Fair
it always
enough.
helps. But oh yeah, don't even get me started on Uther. It's a very sore spot with me. I just can't win with Uther. I've retired him.
What do you guys think about the like Stitches meta that's kind of emerged over the past week or so? Especially in EU, we've seen a ton of Stitches and solo support Tassadar. What do you guys think about that trend?
I don't like solo support Tassadar as a trend.
It's working.
Yeah.
Why don't you like? Like, do you think it's weak, or do you just not enjoy the playstyle?
I think it's weak. I don't think it's enough healing. Now, if you're going balls out damage, fine, maybe, but you better win. Better win that fight, or they're going to turn and kill you.
Uh-huh. Well, the
How about
Stitches
that?
combo is nice because you're looking for picks. As long
Yeah.
as long as you just get the picks, then you never have to do that hard
So-
engage. And you don't
That's-
have to worry about the burst.
Yeah, I mean, Stitches. Stitch is gonna live or die on his hook, and that's always been the case. And that's why I think he should be undertuned in all other respects compared to other warriors. And so when I see these buffs coming in, it's like I'm not a huge fan of that, because if he's hitting his hooks, he's changing games and carrying games, quite frankly.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, I think
So-
the problem was before it was kind of like the same problem with right wing too. Was he could hit hooks, but that was literally all he could do. It was basically his only use. Now he can actually hold a lane, and he's actually being used as a counter to Zagara in lane. It's pretty cool.
I think they increased his damage a little too much at once for a little bounce. I mean,
he does
if
like
you look-
barely noticeable damage now. It's up from absolutely nothing.
if you look at the damage, like the exact number, like they changed it from the slam base damage from 80 to 96. If you look at that, like the base number is like increased by over 20%, and
Yeah.
then it scales off of that. So the end game, like level 20 damage, like they increased by like more than like it's probably about 42% or something. That's a lot.
I mean, it's a lot more than 0. Yes. I don't know.
I mean, I'll keep an open mind. I like seeing Stitches come back into the game and seeing him again, just because he's an interesting hero, and it's nice to have some variety to the warrior compositions. But I hope they don't buff him anymore at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to go back to late alpha where it's just Stitches
the
all
alpha.
day, every day. I mean, there was literally no point to pick anybody else. It was stupid.
Yeah, but that's because he was God. He could do everything.
I like-
Now I think he does some things like okay decently, but like his real niche is still the hook. So I think it's
Yeah.
a nice balance right now.
I like that he feels powerful, but like it still feels like you need quite a bit of skill to make him work.
Yeah,
So.
it's definitely like if you go into a game with like a bad Stitches, you'll still lose. Like it's really bad if you
Oh,
have
yeah.
Stitches you can't hit hooks.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like a Toronto who can't hit her stuns.
Well, only
but-
worse because like
Pre-patch, Toronto didn't have to do anything. All she had to do was occasionally press R and then like auto attack sometimes and just wipe out teams.
Can you hit your D key?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I just like she felt so dirty before the patch. Like before that, like I'd 1v1 Kael'thas, and just like this is stupid. This is a freaking support. This shouldn't happen.
that's because Kael'thas probably didn't get Pyroblast. Would have won.
That's right. That's right.
That's probably it. That's probably it. All right. So we're just gonna go ahead and move on. What do you guys think about Blizzard's approach with these patches? Like during the January 20th balance patch, they said they were going to start doing more frequent balance patching with smaller changes, and I think that kind of goes contrary to what we've gotten used to in Heroes of the Storm, where we like wait for like 3 to 4 months and then like huge changes come in that like completely change the way the game is played, and then in between we might get like 1 or 2 bug fixes that make Sonya God, right?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see what they mean, and we'll see what they actually intend to do over the next few months. I mean, we can't gauge, whether there's a change just by looking at the past few weeks. But I will say this: is that Blizzard has moved at a glacial pace with regards to fixing some of the things that obviously needed fixing in this game, like just heroes that have been overtuned for long periods of time, like Kael'thas, for example. They've been incredibly slow to do anything about that. They were incredibly slow to do anything about Tyrande. Heroes that are undertuned. I mean, Chen with his freaking leg kick his kick being bugged for how long?
I mean, they tried to fix it like 4 times, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't know. And then, a personal favorite of mine, Artanis, just being neglected for forever, when there are just problems with them
That's some minor updates.
Yeah, but there are core problems with this kit that have been well discussed by everybody, and Blizzard knows what they are. They just refuse to do anything about it. There have been other warriors that have just kind of languished for long periods of time. Other assassins. I mean, they just need to move faster. They need to tweak stuff more often.
I feel like it has to be a staffing issue. Like they just don't have enough people to actually address all the issues. Like for instance, still on occasion when I private message someone in game, it'll just return as invalid, and I won't be able to like message that person until I restart my game.
Yeah,
and I know everyone hits this, and it's a pretty major bug, but for some reason it just hasn't been fixed enough.
I think it's like a weird thing with like the client. Like also if you message somebody on the game and then you message them like their real ID or something like that, it's really weird. Like if you have two different messages going, like it'll be addressed to two different people even though the same person is receiving it.
Well, it's the same thing with like the implementing the bans, for example. I mean, why is it taking so long to put bans in the game? Why is it taking so long to get a real hero league and get a real ranking system at the top? They brought in Hero League like a year ago now, and they've done basically nothing with it. Nothing to it. And people have had the same complaints for months and months and months, and there's been no changes. There's been no revisions. They keep promising these things, and they announce, "Oh, we're still months away." I'm like, "Well, what the hell? What are you guys doing? It doesn't take this long. It shouldn't take this long to fix some of these issues."
Mm-hmm.
It makes me wonder what their internal organization is like, because like if they're sharing development people with other games, then that would be a reason why these things are so delayed.
I don't know. It seems like they're doing a lot. If you look at the PTR, they've answered so many. Like there are so many
That's
things
true.
in the PTR that are like
That's true.
direct responses to Reddit threads that I've seen over the past couple of weeks. Stuff like Illidan, when Illidan does Metamorphosis, a lot of people were complaining that he always had the same Metamorphosis form, no matter what skin you had. And now in every single skin, he has a really cool, unique Metamorphosis form. That's one of the many things that like they're working on in the PTR, and I don't think it's necessarily that they're just not listening to us or that they just don't care, but that they're working on other things.
Yeah, or like everyone thinks Diablo's too powerful, so they just completely destroyed his Q, so he can't do his combo anymore.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's not that hard to adjust numbers on heroes, though. I mean, literally, you just go into the file, adjust the number, and call it a day. And they need to be doing that more often. I mean, they have all the data. They know who's picked and who's not picked, and they have to be aware of which heroes have fallen in and out of the meta just by looking at all the stats they have. So they should be able to hop on these things a little more quickly than they have been.
At BlizzCon, they mentioned that one of the complications of doing balance changes like that is that each of the regions actually has their own metas and their own like wins and loss rates. And for whatever reason, different heroes are at different places in balance in the different regions.
Well, yeah, but there are a few heroes where I think it's pretty universally agreed that they're either really, really good or they just blow. Like, I think it's pretty much universally agreed that Artanis blows, which is why we never see him anywhere. So let's fix him. Whereas
He played in like one pro game. I think.
Yeah. Whereas you look at Kael'thas, for example, he's in every damn game. So, I mean, come on now.
I do think they have a big Kael'thas rework coming, and they're just being
they
slow
do.
about it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Sunfire enchantment builds coming in. Can't wait
I do
for
think
it.
it's weird how Kael'thas's win rate in the non-pro scene is like 50-50, and then he has maintained this incredibly popular pick rate.
Yeah, I don't think he's necessarily like overpowered right now. But it's just he just has a really, really solid kit, and he has one really, really good build. I don't think it's necessarily great design in terms of where he's at, but
Chain Bomb's just boring to play against, to be honest.
it is.
It's boring to play with too. Like I really enjoy playing him until level 13, and then now I know my place in the team fight, and you just throw out your chain bombs whenever they're grouped, and you hope that you kill the entire team.
That's a good summary.
Hashtag skill.
Very talented Kael'thas player here. And then at level 16, you just use Arcane Barrier all the time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things they're going to end up nerfing is Arcane Barrier.
Probably.
Yeah,
Right.
I think I posted this in the forums, but Dustin Browder has stated that he doesn't like Bolt of the Storm in general, and also that he doesn't
So good, though.
doesn't like Arcane Barrier. So I think that there could be a really huge nerf to Kael'thas coming where both of those.
I hope they don't change Bolt of the Storm. I think Bolt of the Storm is a great ability, and it's one of the few things that allows for outplays in this game.
Well, if you recall, Jaina used to have sprint, and they removed it because they thought she was too mobile for a mage, and she should be more like of a committal. And so they removed sprint. So I wouldn't be surprised actually if they remove bolts from Kel.
That makes
or
no
Jaina.
sense though. Like if you look at something like League of Legends, like Flash is such a staple in League of Legends because it allows for all of those outplays and all of those individual skills.
Yeah, but
That's
for how
something
many
they're looking for
years?
in this game.
How many
That's
years
something
have
they wanna
people been
keep.
complaining about Flash though?
I don't know.
I kind of hope they remove Bolt just so they introduce some more diversity at level 20 with the picks. I mean, that's my problem with it, is that it's
I think they
it's
just
a
need better
no-brainer
20
pick.
And
upgrades.
I don't
Yeah.
think they would just remove Bolt. Like I feel like they would replace it with something that was more thematic to Kael'thas or Jaina, right?
Well, if you look at what they did with Nova, they removed Bolt and then they gave her that stealth ability,
Yeah.
and that is a really cool ability. It's still probably not as good as one of her upgraded ults because those are amazing,
Yeah.
but it is a very unique, creative design talent. So
Thank goodness they remembered to make it so that you don't become uncloaked when you get damaged.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Like that
Um,
useless Greymane skill.
So we're kind of getting sidetracked quite a bit, but
Sorry
So-
about that.
so overall, do you think that smaller balance, more regular balance updates are better?
Yeah.
No?
Why
I
not?
agree on that.
I like the idea of smaller balance changes, which is why I was surprised when the PTR balance change came down just a week after they said they were going to be doing these smaller changes.
Yeah,
yeah, I
they've
think
done a
that's
lot.
more of a. I think that's mostly just because they haven't done anything in 2 months, and so
Yeah.
they still had just this backlog of how many changes they
Right.
needed to make. So I
Yeah.
think that's why
That's true.
there's so much
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
That's true.
I think it's all good. I think I'm looking forward to more balance patches like this. Although personally, I do really love the League of Legends balance patches where they're like, we just reworked all of the AD items and they're all different, and you just have to learn how to play the game again. Like jungle is just completely different now.
Yeah.
Sorry. But
Yeah, we don't need that necessarily.
it's fun though because it makes the game
It's true.
completely different every couple months. But I understand that Blizzard's always been the type of company that likes a more precise and like balanced approach to balancing. They've always been really timid with balance changes.
League is also on one map. We got
That's
like 9
true.
maps.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's different every game, you could say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And we talked about that last time, didn't we? I think we did, or maybe the time
I don't
before
remember.
that.
Probably.
Oh, that's right. You weren't there. It was just me, Shiro, and Christine. So do you guys think that we're using the PTR to its fullest? Do you think we should be using it for these balance changes? Getting those like 2 weeks in advance and just working on those, and then they release 2 weeks later.
from a perspective of Blizzard or us as the users?
Why don't you tell me both?
Well, from Blizzard's standpoint, they're not doing anything. I mean, they just gotta open it up and it's like, hey, and then they find out if there's any major bugs. But
Yeah.
from our
Mhm.
standpoint, there's not much we can do besides get the stuff earlier. Pretty much, it's like, oh, this is how it's gonna feel before it goes live, and then it goes live. So, I don't think it really means anything.
Yeah, I don't feel a burning desire to go play on PTR, generally speaking. Like, if there's a really cool
Yeah.
hero being released, fine, maybe I'll drop my $10 or whatever and go play him. But like I did with Monk, for example. But overall, I don't see the point because again, Blizzard's not using the PTR for balance testing. They're just looking for bugs, and I don't know. I'm not interested in hunting bugs, to be honest with you. It's just that's not
But-
fun.
What if they were looking for balance? Would you play on that
I don't-
often?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I
I
don't-
would consider it more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Given the lack of matchmaking on PTR, I would not
Well-
want to make balance changes based on it.
That is true.
Like
Yeah,
every
that
game
is
is
true.
really one-sided.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had a game where because all the MMRs are all a mess on the PTR where it was being like a whole bunch of pros against a whole bunch of nobodies, and well, guess how that one went. We'll just leave it at that.
It's like playing every game with Equinox this week. You're just like we just annihilate everyone on the other team.
Yeah, it was just stupid.
But I mean, it doesn't necessarily. It's not like about making perfect changes. It's about saying, okay, so we're gonna release these balance changes because we think this is like some directed things, and then have people play it on PTR and give kind of feedback like, oh, Diablo feels a lot stronger now, or like, holy crap, why would you do this to Tyrande? She's totally broken now. Like, we would know that ahead of time instead of it going live and people being like, you guys fix this quick. Can you guys fix this? This is like really, really bad. Please fix this. You know, we know 2 weeks in advance. I don't know.
Maybe if they could get feedback from pros, that'd be good. But I just feel like people are really gung-ho about suggesting balance changes before they've thought about it very much. When I'm thinking of like the generic Heroes player on Reddit or whatever.
Well, yeah, no, don't want to go mine for opinions there.
Not that there's anything wrong with Reddit. I love you guys. Read it all the time at work.
All right. So if they're not prioritizing balance changes and things like that, what do you think they should be prioritizing? Because right now it seems like they're working on a lot of UI changes and things like that, and just a lot of quality of life changes. It looks like they're starting to go back and rework some of the older heroes. You think they should be doing that, or focusing more on current heroes and current game?
They need to rework some of the older heroes. Some of them are out of date, not very fun, not very interesting by comparison to the newer ones, particularly when it comes to talent diversity and available build paths. So that needs to be done. I'd make that a priority. I'd make getting a real ranking system a priority, and I would make oh god, what was the other one I was going to say? Just
Artanis.
Yes, that'd be number 4. That just goes without saying. But yeah, I mean, if making new heroes. I mean, we still have a pretty light hero pool. I mean, it's certainly come a long way from where it was just a year ago, but they need to keep cranking out heroes. I mean, if they can crank them out once every 2 to 3 weeks, that'd be great, just to increase hero diversity and the availability of varying metas and things like that. Because the reality is that I think more than anything else, it's the actual heroes, the introduction of new heroes, that's going to cause changes to how the game is played more than anything else.
Do you think they're going to have any new maps soon?
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they do this year.
Yeah, they said they still had plans for making maps. And they were gonna stop like somewhere around like 15 or something like that, and then maybe reassess the situation and go back and fix older maps, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the map diversity is pretty good right now. There's a whole bunch of varying mechanics. I don't feel a burning desire or burning need for a new map at this point. I do want to see more heroes, and I do want to see them fix the older heroes.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think my priority would be, I mean, besides the Hero League stuff and the bans and ranks and all that stuff, that's priority. But the secondary priority for me would be going back and fixing talent diversity on people, all the old heroes like Tyrael, Arthas, like just all those old heroes like that have the same bland talents and the same build path every time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm glad you brought up Tyrael. I mean, Tyrael's been a broken mess for like a year now in terms of having one viable build. I mean, yeah, they've tweaked it such that sanctification is now a thing, but you know, he's still taking the same talents otherwise for the most part, and you know, he's just been kind of this static state, like static, suboptimal, not very interesting state now for like a year. I mean, what the hell, Blizzard?
Well, it's kind of ironic.
Let's get on it.
It's funny that they removed cast aside from him, and then he was basically cast aside, and it's just like, you're done. So
yeah, it's just stupid.
All right. Oh, I guess everybody's waiting on me for the next point.
Come on, carry the load, man.
Well, do you think that like older reworks like that take priority over something like band systems or like Grandmaster League, or do you think those should be the absolute top priority right now?
Oh, why can't they do both? I mean, why is
I
this
get
so
it.
hard?
They have
feel
limited
like,
resources. They can only work on certain things at a time, right? So if you had to pick like one thing, what would that really be?
Yeah, but like a hero rework is going to use a different skill set than implementing a ban system. I'm pretty sure, in terms of like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
actual people working on it.
Maybe.
It shouldn't. I don't know. It shouldn't take much to rework the heroes, to be honest, especially the old ones. I mean, unless they're like interesting new abilities, they got to bring in new graphics or new
I think
mechanics.
you'd have to completely change Illidan in order to change his talents.
For Illidan.
Yeah, it would be really
Illidan's-
hard to rework his talents.
He's
Well,
in a better spot than some of the other ones that desperately
Yeah.
need it, though.
You know?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
fair.
he's okay. He's had some changes over the past year or
He's
so.
getting a change in this next patch, actually. They're buffing his damage.
Well, yeah.
Woo!
We're going to see an Illidan meta. He's going to just be at the top of the game now.
The top.
He received a minor damage buff. That's all he needed.
All he needed was just the
Also, he's made
4%
stuns.
damage buff.
Yeah, they just add the unstoppable frames again.
They just add unstoppable all the time.
Yeah, if he's just unstoppable whenever he's in metamorphosis, you can't kill him. That'd be great.
Yeah, if I had to pick one thing for them to focus on, it would be getting a good rank system and fortifying the matchmaking system for Hero League in particular. If they get that right, I think a lot of people will be happier with this
Okay.
game.
That's better for the longevity of the game, too.
Yeah, it
the
is.
The sooner you get that out, the more people will
No,
flock
but
to
skins.
it and commit.
Did you see all the Lunar Festival skins? Those are way more important.
Ugh.
I do like skins. I really like that dragon mount. That looks cool.
Or the Jaina that doesn't look like Jaina. That's gonna get
I
confused
hate
with
that
Li-Ming
skin.
all the time now.
Slut Jaina.
Yeah.
Oh, is this kind of like how Malfurion and Illidan have skins that make them look like each other?
Both the Betrayer ones or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's...
It's true. They do kind of look similar sometimes until you realize that one of them's jumping around and one of them's just like slowly walking towards you.
But when you're new to the game and you don't know how the characters work,
Yeah, fair. I think wasn't it you that was saying that like you were? Oh, maybe that was just a Reddit thread. Somebody was saying that like they were upset at the number of mounts that are in the game. That there are too many mounts, and it's actually getting really confusing. How
Yeah.
like who's who and like what all the mounts are.
I don't think the mounts are confusing. The only thing I don't like about the mounts is how they're treated differently for cloaked characters. Like the blur they leave while you're cloaked
yeah.
and mount.
Wonder Billy, man, that's the only way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like a lot of them will just default to looking like the pleb horse, but then some of them, like I think the vulture mount, like it's just this massive blur on the screen when you mount it up.
It's so wonderful when you see that and you're like, there's a Nova. I can see her quite clearly.
But maybe
Yeah.
that's a good way to just test whether people can actually see the blur or not. Like if you drive by them on your vulture cloaked and they don't do anything, you're like, all right, I'm safer on that person from now on.
That person actually can't see.
Yeah.
Alright, we're good.
Yeah, one thing I will say about the mounts is they're adding them to bundles. So not everybody's going to be paying, what is it, 20, 25 bucks to get the star chariot, whatever it is, for Li-Ming and stuff. So like it is at least cutting down some on the potential number of mounts because you have a little bit more of a paywall there. But I still think, I mean, how many mounts do we have now? Like a couple dozen?
Quite a bit.
A lot.
Yeah.
I'm still not
That's-
going to forgive Blizzard for what they did with the Vulture. I mean, what a stupid idea.
Oh,
God damn it.
That's because you weren't ballsy enough to just smurf your way through
I
it
don't
like
have
a
time
man.
for that. I don't have the interest in doing that. I don't have the patience for it. It's just retarded.
I got like halfway
gotta-
through my smurfing quest and then gave up.
Yeah.
I
Artanis,
mean-
they're all free weeks, don't come around too much.
I mean, that was literally the one mount I wanted. I've been talking about for like a year, and then they do that. It's just, oh, that pissed me off.
you just need to get friends, Don.
I need
Why don't you just make some friends? Just tell them, be like, hey, do you want to
No.
play this game? Heroes of the
No,
Storm.
I hate people too much. I'm not
I
doing
do
that.
like how in this discussion, like we all acknowledge the problem was that it was annoying to make Smurfs, and none of us like even thought about the fact that it was for.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the whole thing. I mean, you have all these players who've been with the game for like a year or so, and then you do that. I mean, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I guess that would have made sense, like on release, like you released that in like July or whatever, and just yay, invite a friend, make the like make Heroes of the Storm big, and it's exciting and everything. But now it's like, yeah, well, all my friends are playing, all of my not friends are not playing.
Yeah,
so.
no. Instead, they make the Cho'Gall's herpes easy to get. God. I'm bitter about that. I'm bitter about the Vulture Mount. All right, let's move on.
So this is
Oh, I see. I
This
thought
is
you were
probably
bitter
a
about
horrible-
Cho'Gall.
No. I'm not bitter about Cho'Gall. I hate Cho'Gall, but
now that he's buffed. All right. Okay. Anyways, moving on. So this is probably a bad question to ask you right after you just said that, but do you think that we have a right to be demanding? Like, Blizzard has delivered on some levels, especially in the past like 2 weeks. They've delivered so many things in terms of balance patches and hero reworks and tons of animation changes, things like that. Do we really have a right to be demanding things and being pissed off at them all the time?
I think people have a right to be demanding, but I'm really pleased with what Blizzard has given us. Is that a
right is such a strong word.
right? Like,
But a lot of people treat it like that's their right. Like they get on Reddit and they're like, God damn it, why hasn't Blizzard changed this yet? Like this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. I'm quitting the game forever because I've been waiting for them for a year and they haven't delivered. Blah 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 blah. Do we have a right to act like that? Because this is a free game.
No, those are just douchebags.
I mean, frankly, if you don't like the game because Blizzard's not doing enough, then just go do something else. Like
That's
we're
right.
all grown ups. We choose our hobbies. We do what we want to do. You
Some
should
of
be
us.
doing whatever you want to do, right? Like some of us.
It's Blizzard's game. They're the custodians of it. It's up to them to do what they want to do. But I sure as hell am going to tell them when they're doing a shitty job. I have no problem with that, and I think people should tell them when they're doing a shitty job. But in terms of, feeling like a sense of entitlement for Blizzard to do this, that, or the other, I mean, that's a little misplaced.
It's a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
You can argue that you put in a bunch of money for skins or something. That still doesn't mean they should listen to you. So
No.
But on the other hand, I do think that Blizzard likes having feedback. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, the one thing that I love about like Dustin Browder tweets is he always says that even the people who are angry, it's just because they're passionate about the game too, right?
well, he's positive about everything. You can't count.
Yeah.
But-
I don't trust those people.
But, like, I mean,
He
if
always
you think,
says like, "Good idea."
but if you think about that, like in terms of that, like that's nice. He actually views everyone's feedback as purely feedback. It's not just like this is a disgruntled person, like who's just acting like a child and throwing a hissy fit. He's actually saying, well, this is like Nova is making this person quite upset. Maybe we should look at Nova and see if there's a way to make her more fun or more engaging for other people to play. So I think they're doing a pretty good job, especially with all the feedback and talking, with all the feedback and talking to us. But it's maybe it's not as much as we'd like. I don't know. I'm happy personally.
It's a good game.
yeah, they've done a good job.
The only things that bother me are the things that are kind of like game design, not game design problems, like user interface problems, like the chat breaking and coming back with invalid and I can't talk to my friend. Those kinds of bugs bother me because they actually get in the way of actually interacting with the game and organizing games and that kind of thing.
Okay, interesting. I don't know. Don just wants Grandmaster League and bans.
And Artanis buffs.
Okay.
I got my Thrall buffs already. I'm good there.
Is there anything in particular you want, Valve?
I want a clan system. That'd be really nice. Like,
Oh yeah, that'd be
just
fun.
revamp all the chat and add clans and stuff. Like they did that in Diablo, and boy, that was so much more fun. Like once you had
See that?
actually like a group of people to play with and stuff, and it just makes it easier than using. a
Well,
friends
that took
list,
like
so
2 years, right? So.
I think it took more.
Well, for Diablo, they had to like wait a year before they made the game fun. So
Okay. Well, hopefully we're getting to a point where we're all going to be happy and there's going to be a lot more features. There's always going to be
Don't forget
people...
the arena.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
arena. Oh god, the arena.
That's coming up.
Yeah,
That's coming up
sometime.
later this year
Soon.
sometime.
Yeah.
Later this year.
I really can't wait to do that though. That's
Yeah.
gonna be some really fun. And now that
But-
Li-Ming's out, 5 Li-Mings.
Oh,
First
God.
team to get a kill is just insta wipes the other team.
But yeah, there's always gonna be people who are pissing on Blizzard and stuff like that, and I think we're always to some degree gonna be needy. But it's nice to at least take moments every now and then to look back and be like, well, this is something that I actually do really enjoy the game so far, and I'm pretty happy with the game. So I think we just need to do that more often. You guys have any announcements or final thoughts on the subject?
Don't nerf Li-Ming. I want to play her more.
She's gonna get nerfed.
Probably.
Anyone else?
Nope,
All right.
I'm tapped out.
Okay, well, I think that pretty much concludes it. So we're gonna post this video. Hopefully, I will get it done by tomorrow. If not, it's gonna be done by Monday. Everyone should watch the rest of the EU qualifiers tomorrow, as well as the NA qualifiers. And we've got those on our website, previews of that, so you can check those out. And that's pretty much all for now. So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, and until then, later.
See ya.
See ya.